Joining me now for today's Locked On Gators bonus episode. It's Saturday, so you know that means Tyler Fornes is here. We're talking about making some money, which, if you didn't listen to last week's episode, I feel bad for you because one thing Tyler said was, hey, maybe you want to, parlay Florida money line and the over, which hit. So thanks, Tyler. That made me some money. I have no problem being honest with it. Tyler Fornes is, of course, with the Vikings Wire run and shooter on Substack, 33rd team fantasy points, and again everywhere. This guy is just a pure workhorse. And Tyler, here we're going to talk about how to make some more money today with Florida, Kentucky. Florida is now -6. They opened on BetOnline at -5.5. That line changed to -4.5, and then right now it's -6. How do you feel about it?
I feel pretty good at -6. Some other sportsbooks had this at -7 right away to open. I like it being under a touchdown because I think this is going to be a relatively close game. We know these teams play each other incredibly tough, and we've seen it over the course of the past 5 years. Dating back to Demarcus Robinson in 2014, getting that third overtime touchdown. Like, this has been a very hotly contested series, and I expect that to continue. Last season, Kentucky ended up winning 20-13 in Lexington. Wan'Dale Robinson's gone, but Tavion Robinson has really slid into that spot and solidified that offense, which was a big question mark, even with the growth of Will Levis. What was going to happen on the outside? You've got Kavasi Smoke and Chris Rodriguez in the backfield. Rodriguez is going to be a question to play this week because he missed last week against Miami, Ohio. So that's going to be a big thing. What Kentucky could not run the ball this past week. Levis had to carry them. Plus, the defense chipped in a little bit. I like the Gators here. And I would not like them if it was at 7, but at 6, or even if you got it at 4.5 is even better because I think that they're going to end up beating this Kentucky team. I like Levis, but I don't love Levis. And I think that when the Gators are going to end up getting pressure on him, he's going to struggle. And they just don't have enough weapon-wise to contend with the Gators.
Yeah, I think for me it comes in. I said this on the Thursday crossover episode I did with Lance Daw from Locked On Kentucky, where I was like, I think Florida's going to win this game handedly. It's just I'm not bought in on Will Levis. I just like I'm one of the people who like I haven't bought in on him yet. Like you mentioned, Chris Rodriguez not there unless Mark Stoops decides to lift another suspension miraculously right before the game, like he just did with one of their linebackers. Cavassier Smoke, the only healthy running back from their top four. I think they get too one dimensional, and I think it's very hard to win that game against that Gators secondary if you just want to throw the ball a ton. But let's talk about winning the game because the money line right now, Florida -225, Kentucky +195. How you feel about those?
I wouldn't touch the money line unless you think Kentucky's going to win. You're not going to get any kind of value for Florida at that price. This is why they had the against the spread. And if you don't like the spread there, you can always whittle it down a couple points. You're going to get worse odds, but it's still going to be better than a Florida money line. I, I, I'm not comfortable enough with those odds. But if you think Kentucky's going to win, +195 is good. That's basically doubling your money. And that also tells you what Vegas thinks of Kentucky and what Vegas thinks the potential of this Gators team is. The one danger that you have to look at when it comes to early on in the season, there's so much unproven, and Vegas doesn't have quite enough data on this season where you can inherently make money because Vegas doesn't have their lines properly set. Once about week 4 or 5 hits in, their lines are locked in, ready to go, and you're going to see a lot more consistency moving forward. But this is a situation where I think, as you said, you think Florida's going to kind of steamroll them. I think it'll be closer than that, but I think Florida wins by about 10, covers the spread with a little bit of comfort, and Vegas needs time to gather data on some of these teams because unlike the NFL, there's a lot of turnover on these college football teams. And it takes a while to really understand where things are lost, where things are gained, and how it's going to impact what the team currently is. Like, take a look at what Arizona did to San Diego State last week. A 38-20 whooping. I almost bet a bunch of money on Arizona +6 because I love the Wildcats. Not in my wildest dreams did I expect Delora and Cowing to just go off like that. Vegas takes lumps early because there's so much data that is just unproven, and they need to figure it out. And you can kind of take advantage of some of those things. If you think Kentucky is going to be winning this football game, the money line is going to be where you make your money, because 195, that's a compared to where Florida is, that's a wide margin considering it's only a 6-point spread.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, money line looks kind of crazy for for Kentucky there if you think it's going to happen. But again, I don't. The over under is set at 51 right now. How do you feel about that? You think they're going to hit that or no?
I wouldn't touch it. And it's kind of the same reason why I didn't want to touch the over under in the Utah game, because the Utah game is 51 and a half, and that game hit 55. Those are pretty dialed in. And last year didn't come close to hitting the over, which I think was in the high 50s. This year, yeah, you're talking 51. Man, these defenses are good, and it's a fight. These teams, it's like, without stealing the trademark of the backyard brawl, it's like a backyard brawl. These teams just, it gets nasty, it gets gritty in the trenches, and that Kentucky, that's kind of how they built their program. It's a Dan Campbell-esque approach where we're going to outfight you, we're going to outgrit you, and then we're going to be able to have some explosive plays to pair with that. I think this is going to be a very close game. I wouldn't touch the over because I think that line is set incredibly well. But life is always too short to bet the under. So I don't know. Do that bet at your own risk, because it's a very good line.
Yeah, life's too short to bet the under, but don't bet the over on this one. Just don't do it. We're about to talk about some Florida Gators SEC odds and Anthony Richardson Heisman odds. But first, a quick word from BetOnline, because prior to the season, I was telling you all take Florida's over. I was saying if you were smart, take the over when it was at 7 games. I said it when it was at 6.5 games. Take the over. I said if you want to be dumb, take the under. Right now on BetOnline, you lost out there, but BetOnline still has so many things you can bet on, like Florida winning the SEC, Florida winning the national championship, Anthony Richardson winning the Heisman. You can bet on Anthony Richardson's draft stock. You can bet on a lot. If you're Lee Sterling, love you, but lockdown bets. Florida easy under? Lee. Come on, buddy. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn all about the trends and action. Check out BetOnline. It's where the game starts. Now we're back with Locked On Gators. Bonus episode. Joining me is Tyler Fornes at The Real Forno on Twitter. And Florida took a bit of a jump with the SEC odds. They are now plus 1,600 to win the SEC. How do you feel about that?
I still don't feel great because they have to go through Georgia. And as we saw, like, we made fun of Stetson Bennett a lot, because Stetson Bennett is not what you would call prototypically great NFL quarterback prospect. He doesn't have the strongest arm. He looked like, I can't remember who said it, but somebody said he's built like a kicker. And that's about the biggest insult you can give to a football player. But here's the thing about Bennett. He's calculated. He's smart. He has a good enough arm, and he can make plays with his legs. They don't need a great quarterback at Georgia. They need a good one. Instead, Stetson Bennett is primed to be a very good college quarterback. We gave him a lot of crap, but he is proving us all wrong. I still don't think he's going to be anything in the National Football League. But as far as a college quarterback, I think he's in a great spot. That Georgia team is loaded. They could run 13 personnel every single play and own pretty much every defense because of how deep and talented that tight end room is. Brock Bowers, Darnell Washington, Eric Gilbert. Are you kidding me? Those are 3 first-round quality tight ends, and they can do almost anything with them. They're running jet sweeps with Bowers. Like, they can all block like maniacs. The running game is still solid. Kenny McIntosh had 10 receptions against Oregon? They are multifaceted. They can attack you in a myriad of ways. They're not afraid to go deep, and they use a lot of pro-style concepts with spread formations. I think this Georgia team is nasty. Jalen Carter is arguably the best player in the country at defensive tackle. I still don't like the fact that they have to go through Georgia in order to win the SEC. And if they win the SEC, they got to then beat Bama or Texas A&M. I don't like either of those odds either. So 1,600 feels right. It's a long shot, but if you really believe in Billy Napier in this team, I still think it's a year or two away from really taking that next step. But I like where they're trending. But you got to beat Georgia, and I'm not confident in that whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, right now you mentioned three other SEC teams. Bama's minus 105 is the favorite. Georgia's plus 110, and Florida's tied with Texas A&M at plus 1600 here. Last line to talk about here is just Anthony Richardson Heisman odds. Started at plus 4,000 after the Utah game, plus 1,000. What's going on there?
Easy. They saw him make Heisman style plays. And that 2 point conversion where he spun around almost like a ballerina and then just rifled it to a standing receiver in the corner of the end zone. Those kind of plays, along with that long touchdown, they separate yourself from the pack. And even though his stat line wasn't great, his impact on the game, the Anthony Richardson is the reason why Florida won. Outside of Amari Burney making his first good Gator play in 5 years. Like, those are the two reasons the Gators ended up winning that football game. Like, you can talk about the two goal line stands for the defense, but at the end of the day, Richardson's dynamic playmaking ability was the reason why Florida's in this position. You also saw the amount that spiked because, one, it's going to be that people are like, oh my God, Richardson is that guy. And then also, it's Vegas overcorrecting because they don't want to give away a bunch of plus 4,000 and then all of a sudden he just runs away with the thing in 3 months.
Yeah, all right. That's fantastic analysis because I was just like, hey, they bought in. This is Tyler Fornes at The Real Forno on Twitter, and you can catch him here every single Saturday teaching you how to make money or telling you how to make money. Thank you, Tyler.
Hey, anytime, man. Glad to be here.